everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Dre, and I'm with Variphy, and today I'm joined by Brian McKay, another SC over here at Variphy. I'm quite certain most of you guys have heard his voice on here before, or probably worked with him already. Good morning, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Dre, for that introduction, and thank you all for attending today. We appreciate your time as always. Today, we're just going to be going quickly over the call wrap-up data that we can get out of CSQ and agent detail reports and Verify. Now, we were only able to support these on a kind of a limited basis until now. But with version 12.4 of Verify that's coming out next week on December 16th, we will be able to support these call wrap-up data fields for all CCX versions, including 12 and above, which we were not able to do previously. And we're also going to be able to support multiple wrap-up data reasons in a single field, which, again, we were not able to do that previously. Before, if multiple wrap-up reasons were entered, we would only show the first one entered. Now we were going to be able to show all of those as comma-separated values in the field. So I will show you some examples of that in a minute. For those of you not familiar with call wrap-up data, just a quick definition from one of our KB articles. We have a CCX CSQ call details dictionary available in our knowledge base on our Verify website. So lots of useful glossary of terms to look up if you're not sure exactly what some of these fields mean. So we define call wrap-up data as information entered by the agent after the call ends, but when the agent is still in the work state. Now, according to the Cisco documentation, the wrap-up reasons represent the reasons that agents can apply to calls. A wrap-up reason can include, or can indicate rather, why a customer called the contact center, and you can have various wrap-up codes, one for sales and one another for support calls, for example. You can also configure wrap-up reasons to be available globally or to specific teams. Finesse supports a maximum of 100 global and 1,500 team wrap-up reasons with no more than 100 wrap-up reasons per any individual team. I don't know why you would need that many wrap-up reasons, and I certainly wouldn't want to be the one who has to go in and configure them all, but they're there if you need them. Now, these are basically just text fields you can enter. They're just customizable text fields. They're not tied to any codes on the back end, like the reason codes, disposition codes, and things like that. So they're basically just free-form text fields that you can create, and then these get presented to an agent when they're wrapping up a call, and they can choose one or more than one, depending on how you have it configured. You can also configure wrap-up reasons to be optional, to be mandatory. It really just depends on how you want to use them in your organization. It's totally up to you. So let's show an example of what we can do with the wrap-up reasons. One thing we can do is widgets based on wrap-up reasons. So I've got a couple here for all of my CSQs. One is going to show account for all the wrap-up reasons. So for example, in this one, it's showing a total of 37 total wrap-up reasons. And then for the specific wrap-up reason of creating ticket, it's showing a total of 22. So I will show you some reports that correlates with this data in just a moment. But really, this is just to kind of give you an idea of which queues are using which wrap-up reasons. Unfortunately, there's not a summary of which wrap-up reasons were used in this widget yet. It just gives the overall count based on what search criteria you entered. But we're always making improvements, and I'm sure we will have better ways to sort the data down the road. So stay tuned as always. Let me take a look at the widget configuration here. So basically, we just set up a widget with all of our CSQs added. We're going to do a search set. So this is for all wrap-up reason codes. So we're going to use the search criteria of contains and an underscore. That's going to pull any call data that used wrap-up codes. If they didn't use the code, if that field is blank, they're not going to be included in this count. So that just filters out a lot of calls that wouldn't have a code and we wouldn't need to see in this instance. So this one is giving us a total of 37 wrap-up codes for the week. And then it shows you how many queues use the wrap-up codes and how many times they use the wrap-up codes is what these columns are telling you. Now, this one is specifically for the wrap-up code of creating the ticket. Let's take a look at that one. So in this one, we have a search set of WrapUp Reason contains creating tickets. So that's only going to show queues that had callers or agents rather that used this particular wrap-up code during the course of the week. We can get into a little more detail on this with the reporting. Like I said, unfortunately, this isn't actually going to show the wrap-up codes used. That's probably something that we'll be adding at a later date, but at least it gives you an idea of which CSQs are using the wrap-up codes and how often they're using them. Let's take a look at the reporting next. So I've got a couple of reports created here. I've got agent wrap-up reasons, CSQ wrap-up reasons. Now they're basically going to show the same call data. It's just tackling it from two different ways. You can either search by your agents or by your CSQs. You can search by all of them. Some of them you can filter it down however you like. So let's take a look at the agent one first. So I stripped out agent statistics and state details and things like that in this report because that just makes the report a lot longer. We want to focus specifically on the call details. Now in the basics, I didn't create an agent search set. This is just going to pull for all agents. You can create a search set and add specific agents if you want. Basically, you just call it agents, and you can choose agents, resource groups, or teams. If you choose agents, for example, it's going to pull up this whole big long list of agents, which I'm not going to bother adding right now. So I'm just going to remove this. We'll just go back to the way it was. The main thing we're going to be looking at with wrap-up codes is the call details. So that's where this information is going to be contained. So I added call wrap-up reason as a search criteria. If you use this drop-down box and search for it, it'll pop up. It's not going to pop up now because I've already added it down here. So once you add something down here, it excludes it from the search field up there because it's already been added. And then if you want to add multiple reasons, you just use this little green plus sign here to add additional ones. But right now, we're just going to focus on grabbing all of the wrap-up reasons. So we're going to use a search criteria of contains with an underscore. That's going to pull anything that has a wrap-up reason in it and exclude anything that doesn't. And then I added some call detail fields here just to populate the report a little bit. Added agent information, contact start and end time, hold time, ring time, etc. And then call wrap-up reason is at the end. Now these typically get exported to PDF. Keep in mind that with PDF, you only have about a 9 or 10 column page width limitation available. So anything longer than that, it's going to truncate columns if you have more than 9 or 10 columns. So try to keep it under 10 columns. That way your wrap-up reason column, if it's last, is not going to get truncated. So just to take a look at a couple of reports I ran 2 reports earlier. One of them was for the wrap-up reason of contains underscore, which is everything. And then I ran another one for contains creating ticket, which is the most common one we see. We don't have a ton of wrap-up reasons configured in our lab environment, but creating ticket is probably the one we see the most often. So I'll show you a couple of reports that I ran earlier. If I can get this WebEx screen out of my menu. Sorry, let me just make this a little smaller. Close up some of this stuff. And let's see. So we're going to look at the agent wrap-up reason. So this is going to be the one for just the creating ticket reason. And you see every wrap-up reason has creating ticket in here. And that's all it's going to show for this particular report. And then if we go to the other one here, agent wrap-up all reasons, that's going to show everything. Creating ticket, callback request, drop call, etc., etc. There's not a ton, like I said, because this is a lab environment, but obviously in your production environment, you're probably going to see a lot more of these. Now, the nice new thing that's been added in addition to support for UCCX 12 and above is the ability now to display multiple wrap-up reasons when selected. So previously, it would only show the first one selected, and the rest would just get stripped out and would not get put into this field. Now we would put them all in based on comma separation. So you can have as many wrap-up reasons as your agents need to enter. We'll be able to display them all here, which is nice. And then same thing for the CSQ wrap-up reasons. I'll show you that report real quick. Back. So CSQ wrap-up reasons, basically the same thing. I selected all my CSQs. I went to call details. And you can either do contains underscore for everything, or contains, drop call or creating ticket or whatever specific wrap-up reasons you're looking for, and you can add multiples. So if you want to do focus just on call drop and just on creating ticket, you could do call drop in the first field, creating ticket in the second field. Is only going to pull those particular values. But we're just going to grab everything in this particular one. Well, actually, I ran both examples earlier, so I'll show you those. But it's basically the same thing. So this one, you can put in pretty much the same values as with the agent one. It's just two different ways to tackle the same thing, basically, either from the agent side of things or the CSQ side of things. So the CSQ, again, pretty much displays the same data. This is the specific ones for creating ticket. And then this one contains everything. And you notice the order is a little reversed. I think in the agent ones, yeah, these were in the beginning, and this one, they're at the end of the report. That's simply because of how we selected the data sorting. So, for example, if we go into here, look at call details, there's an option down here for sort direction, either ascending or descending. So ascending is going to show the least used wrap-up reasons first, and then the most used last. Descending is going to do the exact opposite. It's going to show the most used first and the least used last. So, if you're curious about why it's displaying the order differently, that's exactly why. And you can also sort them by specific fields, and we want to sort it by the wrap-up reason, obviously, because that's the point of this webinar. But you could sort it by, these other fields as well, if you wanted to. Basically, any selected fields you choose from this left side column over here are going to show up in here as the sort call details by options. So you can sort details by any column that you've selected on this right side here. So that is pretty much it. You can take a look at the widgets again, just to confirm that our numbers are lining up. We'll look at the widget for the CSQ all, and that shows 37, and CSQ all should have the total at the top, actually. 37, and then CSQ wrap up with creating ticket 22, and it should be the same for creating ticket on this one, 22. So that is pretty much it. A bit of a short webinar this week. We'll give you a little break going into the holidays here. And I think at this point, we'll open it up to any questions you might have.
Yeah, no questions so far. It looks like you just did just a great, amazing job there. Scott said you provide assistance installing 12.4 free of charge. If not, how much would that cost? Brand new customer.
Yeah. For licensed customers, assistance with upgrades, deployments, et cetera, that's always free of charge. So we'll be happy to help you with the upgrade. We've got some documentation on our website, actually. Let me just show you real quick. If you go to variphy.com, user guides, support user guides, there is, OVA deployment, things like that, how to upgrade Variphy. We'll show you how to do it for Linux and Windows platforms. It'll just kind of walk you through the whole process. And the upgrade process is always the same. It hasn't, changed in any significant way for a long time. So you can, if you're on any version like 11 or 12.x, whatever, you can upgrade to the current version directly. There's no intermediate upgrades required or anything. And, if the documentation confuses you a little or whatever, you just feel like you want some help with the upgrade, just to make sure there's no issues, just go ahead and contact us at support@variphy.com. It's the best way to reach us, and just say you need help with the upgrade, and we're happy to do that anytime.
All right, that looks like all the questions there. Let's go ahead and we can move on to the winner of that $50 Amazon gift card. All right, everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for. Time to award this week's Amazon gift card. And the winner is Adrian Perry. Congratulations. We will
Nice.
coordinate with you and your account manager and reach out to you shortly after this session to get you that gift card over. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us today. Sorry about the technical difficulties. But next week, we got another good webinar coming up. It's
Oh,
going
not
to
next week.
be not next week. Sorry, the beginning of the
Next
year.
year.
Sorry, thank you. I'm so used to saying next week. The beginning of the year, January 12th. We're going to be doing our DID multi-block searching. I know a lot of people have been asking for that. That's coming up in our 12.4 release as well.
Nice.
It's going to be myself again hosting and Matt Sykes as the engineer for that one. So make sure you guys register for that one. And also don't forget to check out planet.verify.com. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time today, and have a good rest of your week and a good holiday.
All right. Thanks a lot. Happy holidays, everybody.